Where are the funds? Where the money gone? Where the money gone? Mama Flabo, we cannot take anymore. Our country cannot take anymore. Our community cannot take anymore. Our young people cannot take anymore. This season of political history will go down in history long after you and I would have been dead as one of the worst governments that we have had in the history of governance in St. Lucia. Very often, when we have a good leader, we tend to underestimate how special a good leader is. Sometimes it takes darkness for us to appreciate the light. Sometimes it takes Lucia to cut the lights for us to appreciate how good it is to have electricity. And I want to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, the reason I am fighting so hard to rescue St. Lucia is because I know what a good leader is. Because I sat in a cabinet with a good leader. I sat in a cabinet with a man who had the vision for this country. I sat in a cabinet where I saw a leader who disciplined his ministers. Whenever any one of us did anything that was wrong, and the record is there to show that two of my former colleagues were excused from serving the people of St. Lucia. And so this is why I cannot accept the level of corruption that's taking place in our country across the board, whether it is the construction industry, whether it is the carnival, just a little carnival where you put these guys to organize and you hear people claim about corruption, whether it is jazz, whether it is CIP, whether it is global ports. This is the unprecedented level of corruption that we have seen in the history of our country. Mama Flabo, it is time for action. We cannot talk anymore. We cannot talk anymore. And so the Labour Party, I feel sorry for them tonight, because I see them somewhere in Castries Southeast. They say that they have a celebration, and I look at the live to see how enthusiastic their supporters are. And I see they have measly people there, 120 people on the Facebook Live. And I asked outside, I said, how many people are on the live for Flabo? They say almost 500. So you see my Flabo. You see my Flabo. You see my Flabo. This is not even something that we mobilize. We did not even advertise this. We didn't take an ad on DBS. We didn't put out like them. Today they were supposed to have a march of shame. Y'all remember that? Yeah. But they are so ashamed that they canceled the march of shame. But you know, when we get back into government, we will show them what it's like to celebrate victory. We will show them what it's like to celebrate progress in a country. Because we will not be celebrating a victory for the United Workers' Party. We will be celebrating a victory for the people of St. Lucia. So we cannot take anymore. They have lost the plot. They do not understand what this is about. They do not understand why we are so anxious about our passports. They do not understand why we are so ashamed that we have an investor from St. Kitts who is taking us to court. They do not understand why we need information. They do not understand why we're embarrassed to hear a minister say that he needs to ask an investor for permission to tell his people what the account is and what the update is on their own passports. They do not understand that, Mama Flabo. And which is why we have to fight that much harder, Mama Flabo, to ensure that we return the United Workers' Party. I want to share with you tonight a cabinet conclusion. Cabinet conclusion, a very simple document. And it's cabinet conclusion 229. And it says the National Infrastructure Development Fund. Yeah? And the cabinet considered, it reads, what date? It's dated the 29th of March, 2023. So March last year. And it says cabinet considered a memorandum dated the 29th of March, 2023, submitted by the Ministry of Tourism, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture, and Information, responsible for the Citizenship by Investment Program, and approved the creation of a National Infrastructure Development Fund as a qualifying investment consistent with the following pricing. It says, 1, investment sum $100,000, standard for a maximum family of 4 persons. So, Mama Flabo, if the investment sum is $100,000, and it says that a family of 4 can apply by paying $100,000, then how much money did Stephenson King, Philip J. Pear, Emma Hippolyte, Ernest Hilaire, and the gang in cabinet decide that 1 passport is for? My math tells me that these guys had our passports on a blown away sale. They had our passports on a jabba sack. They had our passports being sold for $25,000. Could you imagine? That is what you are worth? While all other countries are selling a minimum passport, they have now said in Dominica, in Grenada, in Antigua, and in all the other countries, a minimum that you can have a CIP application for is now $200,000. Why should St. Lucia last year sign and agreed in cabinet that the price will be $25,000 for each passport? And you see, when I tell you that they do not understand, and somebody said the flea market, yeah? Why I tell you that they do not understand, why you are ashamed, it is because of decisions like these. When I tell you that they do not understand, it is because the egregious nature of all of the things that they continue to do in the CIP program, my brothers and sisters. And so we had a judgment that came to the fore this week. We see that the same MSR Media, and you can pick it up, is a public document from the United States District Court of Southern District of Florida. And the case number is 24 CV 2492. Now, this is the document, cameraman. If you want to prove to the public that it's a real document, you can zoom in. Flabos don't lie. Flabos bring the authentic documents to government. And so you will remember that the Labour Party and their cronies celebrated when, based on a technicality, the judge said that MSR Media had applied to subpoena the bank accounts of Galaxy and the former minister, Prime Minister in St. Kitts, and said that because you did this wrong, I will have to throw out your application for subpoenaing the bank accounts belonging to Galaxy and others. Well, MSR Media reapplied and appealed, and now they did it in the proper way. And now the court has ordered that MSR Media can now access the information. Every single transaction of Galaxy will now be shown in the U.S. court. And now the real answers will come to the fore. This is not Ernest now trying to accuse Alan Chasney of destroying St. Lucia. Now we will see the real truth, where the money went. Because the court judgment said this. It says that the bank accounts from Wells Fargo, from Bank of America, and JP Morgan, all of these banks have now been ordered by the court to give information concerning Galaxy's bank account to MSR Media. Now you have to ask yourself, while all of this is happening, we see the corporate secretary of CIP has resigned. And we have to ask ourselves whether there's any relation to what has happened and her resignation. Up to now, we do not know whether the chairman is still the chairman or whether he's the henchman. We don't know what is happening because there is no press release. There is no information that they have given us pertaining to whether Mr. Lon Theophilus is still the chairman of CIP. Mr. Minister, we ask you the question. Or do you also need Galaxy permission to tell us whether we have a chairman or we don't have a chairman? We ask you, Mr. Minister, we need to know the facts and the truth. What is happening in the CIP department? We should not have to go and pick up documents from the courts. We should not have to go and read in the international press as to whether our corporate secretary has resigned. We shouldn't have to go to other countries to see whether we have a chairman or we don't have a chairman. Could you imagine we ran Flabo like that? Could you imagine we didn't know if Prudent was in power or not? But you see, in the United Workers' Party, we have our business fixed. We are ready to govern. And when we return, we will govern properly. So CIP is in a mess. And I want to ask Ernest, while I have the time. Ernest, have you now received the information from Galaxy as to whether you have permission? We need to know. We heard from Mr. Martinez that it is 14,000 passports, files that Galaxy have sold, which could be potentially 56,000 passports. It means, Mamai Flabo, that you could have in the next year or even now 56,000 Chinese citizens. And for those of you who have been ringing up my phone and you've been asking me whether they can vote or whether they cannot vote, if they live in St. Lucia for 6 months, yes, they can vote. Yes, they can run for an election. Yes, they can come and open a little shop next to your shop. Yes, they can come and work in St. Lucia just like you. Yes, they can. And so this is a very serious matter. And that's why you must demand the answers from Ernest, and you must say to Ernest that this is not about Galaxy, this is about your passport, this is about your future, this is about your visa, this is about your banking information, and you need to know. Ernest, WTF. It's a where well, I heard a different language that I can't use on this side. But this is the most egregious thing. And this is why I say to you that our country is in crisis. Is it true that there are 50,000 passports, plus passports that are now being sold? My information is that the CIP is churning out and processing and processing passports like it's a factory. They are there while they are telling you, the people of St. Lucia, that you have to take a line. And when you come from Vieux-Fort, they tell you your documents are not in line. Now I hear that they are processing people even ahead of the documents coming. And so while they do all of this for the international clientele, for all of the CIP people, they are making it difficult for you, the people of St. Lucia, to get your passports. And this is why I say to you, Mamai Flabo, that our country is in crisis. Mr. Special Prosecutor, I call on you to investigate the CIP office. The people of St. Lucia need to know what's going on with their CIP monies. The people of St. Lucia need reports. Why haven't we gotten the reports as yet? Why haven't Ernest and Philip released the information so that all of us can be in the know? And I'm saying to you, Mamai Flabo, that I have received information that while McLeod and Hilaire have been two of the people fingered, that there are more people in St. Lucia who is going down with the CIP scheme. There are more people going down. There are more people who are involved. And that's why you see all of this mass resignation. Because people are beginning to realize that they are in trouble. Hilaire has put them in trouble. The Labour Party has put them in trouble. And now we need leadership. We need visionary leadership to guide us out of the trouble that we're in. And so, Mamai Flabo, there is over $1 billion of your money that's out there. If it is true that there is $1 billion and more in EC dollars out in the open of your monies, then I'm saying to you that this has to be one of the most important elections that we need to fight. We need to be ready for the battle so that when we return, we will revoke every single passport. Every single passport that has been sold illegally, we will say to them, you either pay the difference or we will take our passports back. So, Mamai Flabo, there is a lot at stake. There is a lot at stake. There's a lot of your money that's out in the wilderness. And so we must make sure that we organize, that we share the live, that we tell people about forums such as these, that we get our government back in so that we can rescue St. Lucia from the peril that it faces today. So, Mamai Flabo, we continue to see the corruption deepens. We continue to see the Labour Party with their secret, with their lies, and with their propaganda. We must make sure that it doesn't return. We are so sorry for this country. We just cannot take any more of the corruption, any more of the bad decisions. Mamai Flabo, I want to thank you for tonight. I thank you so very much for coming out and giving us the support. Thank you so very much, Mamai Flabo. We must return Alan Shasney and the United Workers' Party to the helm of government. Thank you.